Good afternoon, everyone. So, guys, let me ask you a quick question. What is going to get us first? Is it going to be the thermonuclear war that we're looking like we're heading towards? Or is it going to be an asteroid strike? Guys, I just saw something on my newsfeed that was more terrifying than any threats of nuclear war. And it's to do with these asteroid strikes that, if you've been following this channel a while, one of the first videos I started to do is the talk about asteroid strikes and these near Earth collisions. Now, the reason I spoke about them like months ago was because of the short notice that we got. It was basically an asteroid was discovered and then it flew past Earth at like a few thousand miles away. And that was ridiculously close. But my analysis was we don't have time to prepare for an asteroid strike. So while we're all worried about war and Putin and the Middle East, we've got these asteroids flying past us, guys, at an alarmingly scary rate. And it seems like, can we prove that we're smarter than the dinosaurs? But just before we go on to the asteroids, guys, I'm going to give you an update on what's been happening with Russia, with Russia basically, and the updates to their nuclear doctrine. Now, they've not released the official updates. They're not telling us what they're doing yet. But from an article which I will share in the description, Kremlin says the threat from the West forces change to nuclear doctrine. Now, I think what's going to happen is they're going to change. So basically, the Russian nuclear doctrine is the set of guidelines which they will abide to, which will lead towards the use of a nuclear weapon. Now, I've said this for a long time, guys. On paper, Russia seems to be the world's nuclear superpower, and it seems to have the most nuclear weapons. That may be the case, but I would argue that they don't have enough. I don't think they have enough tritium to be able to service these weapons. I don't think they have enough. Enough money to keep these things running, because like anything, these, like a car, like anything you have, guys, these things need servicing, these things need keeping on top of, and it's not just the nuclear weapons themselves, it's the delivery method. Now, we've spoke about excuse me. Now, we spoke about the delivery of a nuclear weapon inside Russia. That would be relatively easy because Putin could just put this on the back of a truck. They could drive it in. They could have all the scientists do the tests or whatever. When you start talking about putting these on these nuclear weapons on an intercontinental ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, then you start to come to a lot of engineering problems. There's a lot of speed, there's a lot of G-force on these, there's going out of the atmosphere, coming back to the atmosphere. Are these things going to go off on time? So there's a lot more engineering problems when it comes to that. And that's where I think they struggle. And again, these radioactive materials, excuse me, these things decay over time. So maybe in the 1980s, Putin had X amount of nuclear weapons. How many of them are still serviceable today? I think the number will be far less than that is claimed. However, on with the article, guys. So the key takeaways from this article are Russia is adjusting their nuclear doctrine. That's from the Kremlin. The Kremlin is saying that the changes are due to threats stoked by the West. The Kremlin also say that the West is escalating a hot war in Ukraine. Guys, I don't see that really. But I will come on to that because I know a lot of you guys are going to argue, but I'll take my points on board. US close to agreeing long-range missiles for Ukraine. Again, the use of long-range missiles now, it doesn't really seem relevant anymore when drones do an arguably better job. Russia warns the West over long-range missile strikes. So where the Kremlin here is saying the West is escalating a hot war, what do we mean there? What do the Kremlin mean by escalating a hot war? When you're in a war, you are in a war. And I saw an article today by Joe Biden condemns the strikes on the Russian strikes on Ukraine. Guys, this is part of war. You can't condemn anyone who's in a war for fighting a war. Now, you can argue about who started this war, and it was blatantly Russia. But when these guys are in a war, you can't say, oh, you guys shouldn't be doing that, because the reality is whoever escalates their violence to 10 quickest is usually the winner in most conflicts. And you can look back through history, and that's kind of the, the basis for war fighting. But what we've got at the moment is, it seems like we're edging towards somebody using one of these weapons. Now, I honestly don't know why it's not happened anymore. When the Ukrainians went into Russia, I was like, oh boy, I think this is going to happen. Now, if you remember, I shared the video from Prigozhin when he was talking like a year ago about how Russia would let Ukrainians come into Russia, then they could use a nuclear weapon, then the international community wouldn't be able to have any, there'd be no response from the international community because they'd be using nuclear weapons on their own ground. And that would also let the West know that they have the capacity to do that. So I was like, right, okay, this ticks all the boxes, but they haven't done it. Now, you can argue why they haven't done it, and the reality is, I don't think anybody other than Putin knows. Really, maybe the aliens came down and said, guys, do not have any more nuclear exchanges because we're not into that. I genuinely don't know. What I will say is we're edging closer and closer, and it seems like we're prodding sticks to this nuclear catastrophe. I don't think the West is escalating any war because, the Ukrainians are defending their own country. You can't escalate a war when you're defending your own country. Imagine the absurdity if somebody burgles your house, they're in your house right now, and you go down and there's unarmed combat or whatever, you're trying to repel the attacker from your house, and then somebody saying, oh, you're escalating that violence. You're like, no, dude, get out of my house. So I don't really get this West. Anyway, guys, you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Are the West escalating this conflict, or is a war and you just have to accept what happens on both sides? So guys, with this thing about what I just said about the asteroids, it's absolutely wild. Let me share this with you real quick, and then I'll share the next thing I showed you, which is even worse. So this popped up on my news feed. 720 foot, huge asteroid approaching Earth at high speed. I'll put the links in the description. NASA has recently issued an alert regarding a massive asteroid named 2024 Oscar November, which is hurtling towards Earth at an alarming speed. This asteroid measures approximately 720 feet, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read the whole article, but guys, there it is. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because once I looked at that article there, I was like, right, okay, let me go and look at the NASA website. Let me see, what they're producing. And again, are they being open with all the information they know? Are they putting every up-to-date piece of information up on there? I don't know, but it's all I've got to go with. So I'm going to go now to the NASA website, and guys, if you suffer from anxiety, skip the video right now because this is wild. So where are we? So here we are, guys. So they've got like, an asteroid tracking page on their website. This is, this is the NASA website, near-Earth asteroids as of September 2024. So if we scroll down, it gives you some statistics. This is the bit here, guys. Known near-Earth asteroids passed closer to Earth than the moon. So to me, that is ridiculously close on astronomical scales. So there have been 2 in the last 30 days. Why haven't we had like an all-out alert system? And, and like, why are we not getting, maybe this is why they told us to plan, in the United Kingdom, where they gave us this 3 days preppers list. So in the last 30 days, we've had 2 near-Earth asteroids. In the last 365 days, we've had 114 near-Earth asteroids that passed closer to Earth than they did to the moon. Guys, I don't know about you, but this terrifies me a lot more than any of these threats of war because, you can talk people down, you can negotiate, you can, you can have, what's the word I'm looking for? You can have diplomatic relations. When there's an asteroid coming towards us at a ridiculous speed, all right, we're not going to be able to send David Lammy up there to negotiate with it, right? even with his vast political skills, he's not going to be able to negotiate that asteroid. And where's all the money we're putting into this? Why are we, why is Britain not spending $3 billion a year on asteroid defense? Why is the world not coming together and saying, look, guys, all right, we can have these wars, but let's just make sure we're safe from asteroids first. Let's use that as a priority. Because, if one of these things that's really big hits us, it's game over for everyone it hits. And there's no amount of negotiating, no amount of Facebook posts, YouTube videos, or whatever is going to save anyone from those guys. To me, I don't know about you, but this scares me more than anything because it's a real threat. I can't believe, what are the numbers again? The numbers are astounding, guys. 114 asteroids have passed closer. So between the Earth and the Moon, have passed in the last 365 days. To me, that is absolutely insane. And why is this not all over the front page news? Why is this not there? And everybody is saying, guys, let's kind of stop spending all this money on defense and spend a little bit of money on real defense, that sort of stuff that's going to, like planet destroyers and stuff. Because I've certainly not heard of anything that can protect the Earth from, an asteroid strike. And we've got all this money and we're sending it to random places. And to me, from my optics, I've had a little look and I can't find anything. It seems like we're just hoping for the best. We've just got our fingers in our ears and we're just hoping that these asteroids don't hit us. Anyway, guys, that went off on a bit of a tangent, but the jokes of this video is these nuclear escalations are moving forwards. We've got any day now, the Russians are going to announce, you'd like to think they do it publicly, because part of a nuclear threat is that it is a deterrent. So with your nuclear weapons, however they're, however they're used, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the British nuclear deterrent in the submarines. Remember when, what was it? The Tory defense minister, he was on the, he was on the nuclear submarine, and they did, they were showing, they went out there to show Putin that we're a capable, competent nuclear threat, and we've got all the submarines that are hidden under the water, and they fired a test missile, and it just went, View! A little bit limp, a little bit impotent. I'm not going to go into any esoteric meanings there, guys. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, so the main thing about a nuclear deterrent and a nuclear, having a nuclear arsenal is that you don't want people to test it. So when you've got a new piece of equipment, you would communicate that. You would let everyone know that you've got this new piece of equipment. So people are scared to like, oh, we don't want to mess with them. They've got this this new maneuverable hypersonic missile or whatever. So you never hide your nuclear weapons. You never hide your offensive equipment. So your offensive capability when we're talking about strategic nuclear weapons. Now, if you've got a defensive system for that, you could argue that you'd want to hide that, yes. Yeah, so that's why I think the Russians will announce the updates to their nuclear doctrine. That's coming at any day now, guys, and we just need to keep watching for that. And also keep your eye to the sky, because this asteroid comes past us on the 15th of, let me check. I think it was the 15th of September. I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not. Yeah. Asteroid 2024, Oscar November, is set to make its a close approach to Earth on the 15th of September. Guys, I will put these links in the description. Let me know what you think. Should we be spending more money on asteroid defense, or should we be sending money to Ukraine for missiles? Let me know, guys. I'm going to back to grid, and I'll get you guys another video shortly.